What we're going to do today is I'm going to demonstrate how to make kefir from young green coconuts. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with kefir, kefir is the process of actually fermenting milk drink. The beneficial thing about coconuts is they already have a lot of vitamins and minerals and B vitamins included in them. What we're going to be using here is young coconut kefir or green coconuts. Now these are, most people are familiar with coconuts where they have the hard brown sort of hairy coating. What these are the young coconuts that generally look green if you were to get them right off the tree. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to cut the bottom off here, and it depends on how hard this actually is. What you should be seeing is you'll see a little white core, and you can kind of tap around and actually feel where it should, see a little soft core there. This is going to be the area where we're going to actually poke to try to get the water out. Now in some cases when you're cutting your coconut, you may not be able to get down far enough where you actually immediately start to get liquid. So you'll see a soft core. You can try and core it out with a sharp knife. However, I found a much easier way, and that's using a drill. And you find that soft core, you find that drill point, and you drill into the coconut. It's that easy. You always want to use a strainer. Anytime that you're cutting or you open up that hole, you're always going to get some coconut debris. So you simply just pour the water through the strainer, and it'll take a minute or so. The water I'm pouring into this glass is exactly the color that the coconut water should look like. This example is the water essentially is rotten. If it's pink, throw it out because the coconut essentially is spoiled. So the next step actually is to take the water from our coconuts, which we've done with one. Now a product that I've used for a long time is a product from the Body Ecology. You can get a lot of information off of their website at bodyecology.com, and they have different starter kits. This is actually a kefir starter kit. Now this is made from a base of dairy, primarily the milk sugar, because it's actually the sugar that actually helps provide some of the substrate for the natural bacteria. In anything like that, there could be very, very small or trace amounts of casein. Personally, I've never seen an issue in using their products with kids on the spectrum, so it's something I haven't really been concerned about. And there are other kefir starter kits out there, but this is a very popular one and it's been around for quite some time. So what we're going to do is we take out of the kit we have little packets, and this is a powder, and I'll show you what we're going to do with this in a second. We're going to pour the rest of our coconut water into our pan. What you want to do is you're going to put the pot on the stove, and the goal here is to actually increase the temperature of the water to approximately 92 degrees. 92 degrees seems to be a perfect temperature to help to activate and enliven the bacteria once you add the kefir packet into the fluid. So essentially you want to put it on about medium-high. You want to make sure you're watching it so that the water doesn't become too hot. If you don't have a thermometer, what you can always do is, with your clean hands, is just stick your finger in, and you want it to feel lukewarm. Now what we've done is we've taken our coconut water off the stove, and it's approximately 92 degrees. What I like to do now is transfer it to the glass jar, which is actually going to be storing the kefir for the next few days. And this is 2 coconuts. What we do is once we transfer the water into the jar, I always recheck the temperature just to make sure that the temperature hasn't gone up. Sometimes what happens when you're heating it on the stove and you check your temperature on the stove at 92 degrees, the actual pan is hotter, and so the liquid could actually heat up. And what we do now is we're going to add the kefir starter powder to the jar. Pour in your powder, close the lid. I just shake it around a few times and you're good to go. What you want to do with this at this time, ideally it should be stored in a temperature of 72 to 75 degrees. That could be in a kitchen cupboard. You could keep it out on top of the kitchen shelf, on your kitchen somewhere, 72 to 75 degrees. I typically let it stand for about 36 hours. Depending on where you live in the country, kefir may, it may turn over and ferment more rapidly, depending if it's a hotter temperature, if you're doing this during the summer as opposed to the winter. But on average, 36 hours is a good time frame. What I have is, this is the coconut kefir that we just made. This is actually one that has been standing for approximately 36 hours. And what will happen, as you'll see, is this looks very clear. The kefir actually over a 36 hour, over a period of time, 36 hours approximately, will turn a little cloudy. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. The great thing about kefir is you can drink it as much as you want. It's easy for adults to take. It's easy to give to kids. Now, some kids' taste buds are different than others, so it's very difficult to predict whether all children are going to like the taste of coconut kefir straight out. It has a little bit of a spritzer taste to it. It's a little bit carbony taste, so sometimes kids do better if you add a little bit of juice. You can add a little bit of grape juice or orange juice or pineapple juice, whatever is maybe sweeten it a little bit for them. But overall, it's a very nutritious drink. Now remember, why we're using this is an excellent way of getting nutrition, B vitamins and electrolytes and sodium, potassium, and the different types of nutrients into our body, but it also has the live bacteria, and particularly useful for anybody who has digestive problems, particularly with respects to bacterial or yeast overgrowth, such as Candida albicans.